Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and as promised, I'm here again with you every 12 to 14 hours, giving you updates on the war in Iran and its implications for the region. The latest news is that in a very spectacular fashion, Israel has stuck, especially the Israeli Defense Forces, have attacked the Iranian Assembly of Experts as it was voting to select the successor to Ali Khamenei. This is a major, major blow to the Iranian leadership, especially the clerical leadership. This is an Assembly of Experts is a body of about 88 clerics whose role is to elect and, expose or fire or dismiss or impeach the leadership. They have not met many times. Over 37 years ago, I guess they elected Ayatollah Ali Khamenei as a successor to Ayatollah Khomeini, and now they are meeting. They were meeting again to elect a successor to Ali Khamenei, and they were hit. Now, let me just explain to you the two amazing or shocking takeaways that I have from this particular attack. The two shocking takeaways is that number one, that the Iranian regime is become completely porous, that the US and Israeli intelligence has penetrated the Iranian regime to such an extent that they are unable to have a single meeting which is not instantaneously reported to the Israelis. Look, the Israeli jets are not hovering around up there waiting for such an opportunity, which means that as soon as the meeting was scheduled, the Israelis were informed and there was enough time, or I don't know how much time it takes, but it must have taken 2 to 3, 4 hours for the jets to fly from Israel or from aircraft carriers nearby to come to home and hit that particular building. It is, while there is no confirmation yet from the ground as to whether the entire body of assembly of experts has died, but the building looks completely flattened, and this is a major devastating blow. So what has happened is in the beginning of the war, the Israelis and the Americans attacked and destroyed most of the political leadership, the Minister of Defense, Ali Khamenei himself, the supreme leader, the chairman of the National Security Council, and some other generals were also killed in the first strike. And now this is a strike against the theological side of the Iranian regime, where most of the clerics have been wiped out. It may not be a bad thing even for Iran that these guys have been finished. These are the more conservative side of the Iranian regime. But I must also point out that this not only highlights the exposure, the fact that Iran is not able to maintain any kind of operational security of its leadership. It also shows to a great extent that they have absolutely no air defense capacity. So if they were going to hold this meeting, didn't it occur to anybody at all? I mean, this is so absolutely stupid what really has happened. So didn't they realize by now that there are lots and lots of leakages from their leadership positions so that everybody knows what is going on in Iran? Didn't they anticipate a similar attack? Did they think that by hosting it in Qom and not in Tehran, they had somehow tricked the Israelis and the Americans? I find it quite astonishing at the high degree of incompetence of this regime. And with this level of intelligence, with this level of operational security, with this complete lack of air defense system, they insisted on challenging the United States and Israel in the Middle East. I find it quite astonishing as to how colossal a strategic error this regime was making. It has been completely exposed that it is unable to defend itself. Yes, we understand that the end game of establishing a regime that is pro-Israel after replacing this is going to be a tough ask for America. But what also is being highlighted is the complete incompetence of this regime. This regime has been preparing for this war for its existence since its beginning, since 1979. I mean, from day one, it was very clear that the United States was opposed to this regime and would one day strike it. And Netanyahu has been trying since 1996 to get the United States to attack Iran. So I find it startling as to how complacent and incompetent the Iranian regime is. And it also shows something very interesting about this. This is the same, no different from, say, Egypt or other Arab countries, which when they fight other countries outside the Arab world, their incompetence and their inabilities are exposed. But they seem to have a very good ability to go after their own people, whether it was Sisi in Egypt or whether this Iranian regime here in most recent protests where they simply suppressed it. So I think that these governments spend more time and energy and resources in developing capacities to suppress their own populations than to defend the country itself. But Iran, for the last few years, has been engaging in such aggressive regional diplomacy, coercive diplomacy, and military actions that the fact that it has been so exposed is stunning. Yes, it has 3,000 missiles. We know that it is shooting them at Israel and U.S. Military targets in the region and at Arab countries. Yes, it is shooting at them, and I think that will also recede as America and Israel target its ballistic missile capabilities. Yes, we know all of that, but the fact that it's unable to defend itself is quite astonishing. It's like saying that you have offensive capability. It's like a football team in America that it's composed of two teams, the offense and defense, and it's like saying that the match has started and the bus with your defense team hasn't shown up at all. It's only the offensive team which is there. So that is the scenario that I see in Iran. That very soon, at the pace at which US and Israel are taking out Iranian leadership, and there are reports here that Donald Trump has been reaching out to any and every group that is opposed to the regime. He's been talking to Iranian Kurds, and then he's been talking to, I guess, other people who I don't even know if there is any established opposition inside inside Iran that can just stand up easily and take over the regime. So I still feel that the speed with which the leadership is being eliminated without eliminating the capacity of the regime itself, what is going to happen is that it's going to break up. Instead of being one integrated whole, there are going to be lots and lots of small IRGC related and associated regimes. They have many other domestic security agencies, which are probably not going to give up power. But who knows? A lot of things have happened in the last 4 days, which are unexpected. But I just wanted to give you an update on this. On the other hand, I also want to share with you an update on what has been happening in the oil markets. The price of oil has gone close to $85 now. It was about 67 before the war started. And if this continues for 4 or 5 weeks, as some people have said, then it's going to have a huge impact on not only the oil markets. The oil price is probably expected to rise to $100 or even $120, according to some sources. Some of the OPEC countries have promised to increase production in order to bring the prices down, but because of Iranian strikes on energy sector, for example, the biggest refinery in Saudi Arabia has been shut down. Qatar's complete natural gas production has been shut down. And then if Iran successfully shuts down Hormuz, it has nearly shut it down completely, the Strait of Hormuz, through which about 20 to 30% of the global oil supplies flows, there will be a shortage of oil. And even if the OPEC does increase production, what is the guarantee that it will be able to go out through the Strait of Hormuz? So there is going to be some crisis in the oil market. And one of the dangers is that because the oil prices are so closely tied to dollar, if the price of oil goes up, most of those countries which are importing petrol from the Gulf countries or anywhere else, if you are an importer of oil, then your currency value will go down. For example, right now India is about 95. Indian rupee is a dollar is about 91 and a half Indian rupees. If the price of oil starts approaching $90 and $100, the cost of buying dollars will increase, and there will be more dollars that India will need to buy this oil. And so, because the demand of dollars will increase, what is going to happen is the price of rupee will go down, which means you will have a double whammy. One, that the price of oil is also going down, and because the price of your currency is going down, the impact of the rise of oil prices will be much more significant and impactful, because it's like a double whammy, really. So one thing that has happened is the shortage, and especially the countries that are going to be hit the hardest because of this are India and China. About 50 to 60% of India's oil, all energy needs, oil and natural gas, flow through the Strait of Hormuz. And China's also about 50% of their energy needs flow through the Strait of Hormuz. China was buying 90% of Iranian oil. So if the Strait of Hormuz is completely shut down, these two countries, along with South Korea and Japan, will be very profoundly affected economically. And the effect is not just the prices of oil, because the prices of gas and oil goes up. Everything that you're doing, your manufacturing, your production, your transportation, will have a huge inflationary impact on the economy. So that is the second thing that we can expect. And the third part is that for countries like the South Asian countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and even some Arab countries like Egypt and Morocco and Nigeria and others, who have large number of people working in the Gulf countries, who also send back remittances. All of that could be potentially impacted if Iran were to collapse as a country and it becomes something like what Afghanistan had become under the US occupation, or what Iraq had become under the US occupation. Remember, ISIS emerged out of the US invasion. Now, Donald Trump and both Pete Hegseth have been talking about, or at least they're not ruling out putting boots on the ground. So if American troops are going to land in Iran, I think that will be even more dangerous scenario for American citizens also, and we will see how the American public reacts to it. So far, the casualties are very low. Only six, even they should not have died, but only 6 American service people have died. And whatever damage that the U.S. Air Force has experienced, it has been at the hands of friendly fire from Kuwait. But we will see going forward what is happening. The war has become a regional conflagration. More than 10 countries are now involved in this. There is a potential escalation if France is supposedly sending some ships into the region. It says it's only defensive. There's a lot of pressure from the US on NATO to join the war, and NATO obviously is reluctant, because Europe is going to be one of the European economies are going to be very severely hit by the rise of oil prices. After they stopped buying cheap oil and gas from Russia, they had completely, shall we say, pivoted towards the Gulf, and so they were buying oil from the Middle East as well as energy, which is natural gas also from here, and all of that is going to shoot through the roof. It is also possible that if the supplies themselves are unable to reach because of Hormuz, ships are not going through. And another thing that is happening is that the cost of insuring oil tankers has gone through the roof, and the timelines also, if you're trying to avoid the Red Sea and Hormuz, etc. So the Europeans will now have to turn and buy oil from the United States and gas from the United States, which is going to be even more expensive for them. So overall, it's a bad scenario for most of the world. I think, I mean, it's the only winners that I see to some extent is Netanyahu and Israel, because whatever damage Israel is going to experience, the American taxpayers will probably pay. As soon as this war is over, I won't be surprised if Donald Trump transfers 20, 30, 40, 50 billion dollars from American taxpayers to Israel for basically repairing all the damage and restoring its armed weapons, etc. But America does not have money for health insurance for Americans. We are debating and shutting down governments to renew the subsidies for Obamacare, which hasn't happened. But apparently, Donald Trump somehow found billions of dollars to fight another war in the Middle East. And from the way he's talking, this could be another prolonged engagement. And I also suspect that if I doubt it, but if there is some kind of a regime change, and whoever comes to power uh, more or less aligns with the US, then there might even be nation building going on, because the US might want to, at least Donald Trump might want to control the flow of Iranian oil. And this is where I think countries like India and China and Russia, who are sitting out this battle and not putting enough pressure on the United States, might pay a much heavier price if the United States controls Iranian oil as it controls the Venezuelan oil at the moment. So, looking forward, things are getting worse day by day. Obviously, for Iran, and I think ultimately the Gulf is going to pay a heavy price, because Iran is not able to have a huge impact on American targets. I mean, it did hit the American embassy in Riyadh, but it was empty. There was nobody in it, so there's some fire. That's all. I mean, that is their level of success. But the Americans and Israelis are hitting whatever targets they want, when they want, and getting the damage that the best outcomes that they wish, especially taking out both the political as well as the theological leadership of the Iranian regime. So anyway, we will see what happens. There has been a lot of concern around the world about what the long-term impact of this is going to be. Let me tell you that things were like this in the beginning of the war with Iraq too, shock and awe, and there was all this jubilation as to how, in fact, I was told that, that the Bush administration was hunting for a Cadillac, a convertible Cadillac, which they were going to take to Beirut, in which George W. Bush would enter as a liberator of Baghdad. That's what they were planning. If you remember, mission accomplished scenarios, George. And then the war lasted more than a decade after that mission accomplished statement. I hope history does not repeat itself. Because in the long run, both the United States and Iraq have been weakened. America is now nearly $40 trillion in debt. A lot of the money was blown away in Iraq. And Iraq as a country has obviously suffered huge infrastructural damage from it, which it has not yet recovered. Iran will definitely be pushed back by decades with all the destruction that is taking place. So ultimately, what is going to happen is that the Arab world is going to live under Israeli hegemony, because there will be nobody in the Middle East that can either resist or challenge or push back against Israel and whatever it wants. And I think that is the ultimate outcome of this war. So anyway, thank you for watching Conversations. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon. I have just uploaded two very fascinating interviews, one with Ambassador Talmiz Ahmed, who is trying to explain in the aftermath of Prime Minister Modi's visit to Israel as to what changes are taking place in India's foreign policy with regards to the Gulf and the Middle East. It clearly appears that the path to Washington now goes through Tel Aviv, and so go and watch that video. He did a pretty good job of explaining what India's foreign policy is in this turbulent times. I also uploaded a video with a very distinguished economist, Dr. Santosh Mehrotra, who talked about the impact of this war on oil and energy, and the impact of that on global economy, on US economy, on European economy, on Indian economy, and the Chinese economy. So two very important videos I've just uploaded. Please definitely go and watch them and share them also with those, because not many uh, TV channels are able to conduct interviews as in-depth interviews as we are able to do on YouTube. So anyway, thank you for watching. If there are any questions or comments, I will read them and take. Otherwise, I will see you again tonight. Uh, I don't know, Kunal. It's an interesting question. There is lots of criticism that is coming from the Congress party of Modi's positions, but they haven't articulated what an alternative policy should be. So they leave it to you to guess what they would do. Uh, Oh, this is an interesting question. Even I asked this question to Kamar Chima. I was on his show last night and I asked him as to what happened to the Saudi Pakistan Defense Pact. Now that Iran has attacked Saudi Arabia, what is Pakistan going to do? So his response was very interesting. He said, look, our troops are already in Saudi Arabia, our military presence is there in Saudi Arabia. The Saudis have not asked us yet to come to their defense. And if the Saudis do ask Pakistan, then Pakistan will engage in I guess, defensive tactics against Iran, basically shoot down Iranian rockets, missiles, or whatever that are coming in. That is what at least Qamar Chima thinks. I don't know. I agree with his first part, which is that uh, the Saudis may not have asked them. It's the same thing when the US has a military alliance with the Philippines, and there was this engagement in which the Chinese ships were bullying Philippine ships, and they sunk one of the Philippines boats or Coast Guard boats, and the US was pushing Philippines to invoke the military alliance so that the US could take some action, and the Philippines decided not to invoke the defense alliance. And so I don't know what would have happened. Would the US have intervened militarily? So the same question is here. So I think there must be lots of discussions going on between the Pakistanis and the Saudis, because the last thing Pakistan wants to do is to get into a war with Israel right now, with Iran right now, and look as if it is standing with Israel. And that's the same situation for all the Arab countries. Even if they are being hit by Iran, they don't really want to attack back, because then it will look as if they are attacking Iran along with the US and Israel. At least for the populations, that is how it would appear. But nevertheless, Qatar has taken some steps. It's actively defending itself, and Qatari Air Force has shot down two of Iran's Su-24s, and that was outside the land borders of Qatar. It was somewhere in the sea. So we will see what happens on that front, but that's a good question. And well, people have some kind of vague observations. This is an interesting comment. Jeffrey Epstein had better Secret Service than IRGC. Yes, he was working for Mossad. So, yes, you can see that the Israeli intelligence is probably one of the best in the world, especially in the Middle East. Oh, Umesh. Dr. Khan already used short 90. Russia has offered oil to India. Gas. India might increase purchase of Russian oil in March. We'll see. That would be an interesting development. Will that trigger automatic increase on tariffs on India, the 25% that Donald Trump did? Because he can do that based on Section 232, which is not impacted by the Supreme Court's decision. So we will see if India buys more Russian oil. Will Trump also increase the tariffs on Indian goods? But thank you for the update that the oil prices. Like I can tell you that it is quite possible that if this war keeps going, the dollar might reach 100 to Indian rupees. That would be a good time for me to go to India and do some shopping. Nobody is standing with Iran. I don't think there is anybody. There's this talk of China providing real-time intelligence. I don't know what kind of intelligence China is providing with all the devastation that is being caused in Iran. But there is no direct transfer of weapons or anything like that. The way the US is being transferring weapons to Israel and the Europeans are now providing bases, etc. Can you imagine the most powerful country in the world getting help from many other powerful countries in the world? So yes, Iran has picked a fight with a very powerful coalition, and uh, and they are paying a heavy price as a result of that. UN has become irrelevant. There is no doubt about it. The UN can do nothing when permanent members of the Security Council are engaged in illegal activity. This war is illegal, but there's no point in talking about it because the US and Israel now don't care about international law, and there is no will among the rest of the world to punish these two countries through sanctions or breaking diplomatic ties at all. So this talk about this multipolar world is just rubbish. There's no such thing as multipolar world. The US and Israel are the dominant powers in the world today. Well, you're ignorant, my friend. A major resolution that was being passed in the UN on Kashmir against India was blocked by Iran. Go check and look at it. Just Google that and it'll pop up. BRICS. BRICS is going to be useless. India is the chairman of the BRICS this year. So don't expect it to do anything meaningful at all. All right. Thank you very much. There aren't any other interesting questions. So thank you for watching Conversations. I'll see you when I see you, hopefully tonight. Take care. Bye.